Effective communication is a vital skill that helps us achieve our goals, build healthy relationships, and navigate through life's challenges. One of the most important aspects of effective communication is assertiveness, which means being able to express oneself confidently, clearly, and respectfully. However, many of us struggle with assertiveness and often resort to using phrases like "with all due respect" before saying something negative or unkind. According to a study published in the Journal of Language and Social Psychology, using phrases like "with all due respect" before delivering negative feedback can be perceived as insincere and can decrease the effectiveness of the feedback. The study found that participants who received feedback preceded by "with all due respect" rated the feedback giver as less sincere, less competent, and less effective than those who received feedback without the phrase. Another study published in the journal Communication Monographs found that using hedging phrases like "with all due respect" can reduce the perceived power and status of the speaker. The study found that when speakers used hedging phrases, they were perceived as less confident and less competent, and their message was less likely to be taken seriously. So why do we use phrases like "with all due respect" in the first place? One reason is that we often use them as a way to protect ourselves from potential rejection or criticism. We want to soften the blow of what we're about to say, or make ourselves seem more likable. But what we don't realize is that these phrases can actually have the opposite effect. They can make us come across as weak or unsure of ourselves, and can make the listener less likely to take us seriously. Another reason is that we may feel the need to be polite or respectful in certain situations, but using phrases like "with all due respect" can actually be perceived as insincere or condescending. Instead, it's important to be direct and honest in our communication. For example, instead of saying "with all due respect, I think your idea is not feasible," we can say "I appreciate your idea, but I think it may not be practical." So, what can we do instead? One strategy is to start our sentences with confidence and sincerity. Instead of "I don't want to come across as boring," we can say "I have something important to share with you." Instead of "you probably won't believe me," we can say "I know this may sound unusual, but..." Instead of "this story isn't all that interesting," we can say "I have a story that I think you'll find valuable." By starting our sentences with confidence and sincerity, we show the listener that we believe in what we're saying and that we're willing to take responsibility for our words. Another strategy is to use "I" statements when expressing our thoughts and feelings. "I" statements help us take ownership of our thoughts and feelings, and they make it clear that what we're saying is our own perspective and not a universal truth. For example, instead of saying "you're wrong," we can say "I disagree." It's also important to remember that honesty is always the best policy. If we're not good at telling jokes, or if we think a story is boring, it's okay to say so. It's much better to be honest than to try to sugarcoat the truth. And when we are honest, we give others the opportunity to judge us for who we truly are, and not for who we pretend to be. In conclusion, starting our sentences with phrases like "with all due respect" may seem harmless, but they can actually undermine our message and make us come across as insincere. According to studies, using these types of phrases can decrease the effectiveness of our communication and reduce the perceived power and status of the speaker. Instead, we should focus on starting our sentences with confidence and sincerity, using "I" statements, and being honest and direct in our communication. By doing so, we can build stronger and more genuine relationships with those around us. Another important aspect of assertive communication is the use of nonverbal cues, such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Research has shown that nonverbal cues can have a significant impact on how our message is perceived. For example, standing tall, making eye contact, and using open gestures can project confidence and assertiveness, while slouching, avoiding eye contact, and using closed gestures can signal insecurity or lack of confidence. Additionally, using a clear and confident voice, speaking slowly and clearly, and using a strong and confident tone can help convey our message effectively and assertively. On the other hand, speaking in a monotone, mumbling, or speaking too fast can make it difficult for others to understand us and can weaken the impact of our message. Moreover, focusing on common ground and using positive language can also help to create a sense of collaboration and mutual understanding, rather than conflict. Instead of using negative or confrontational language, using positive and constructive language can help create a more positive and productive atmosphere, and can encourage the other person to listen to our perspective. Additionally, using empathy, or the ability to understand and relate to the perspective of others, can also help to build mutual understanding and respect. By trying to understand where the other person is coming from, and by showing empathy and compassion towards their needs and concerns, we can create a sense of mutual understanding and respect. In summary, effective communication and assertiveness are essential skills that can help us achieve our goals, build healthy relationships, and navigate through life's challenges. To communicate effectively and assertively, it is important to avoid using phrases like "with all due respect" that can undermine our message, and instead focus on starting sentences with confidence and sincerity, using I statements, being honest and direct, and using nonverbal cues such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Additionally, focusing on common ground, using positive language, and showing empathy can also help to create a sense of collaboration and mutual understanding. With practice and self-awareness, we can all learn to communicate effectively and assertively and build healthy and respectful relationships with those around us.